Hi everyone, it's Lindy on from Pink Whisper Designs. Today we're going to create this fun milestone birthday card. Could be for a man or woman. And we're going to create this really fun swivel surprise for the inside of the card. For images, we're going to be using the Art Impressions Real Great Guys set. And look at all these cute images with the fish, the little dog in the tube, a bucket full of fish, and our two little fishermen. And there's plenty of sentiments to go along with this set as well. I'll start off with some Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock. I've got my Versafine Onyx black ink, which is a permanent black ink. Place that in my MISTI stamp positioner, and I'm using my Stampendable stamp press to press that out. Once that's done, let's go ahead and start some coloring. I've got aquamarine blue and cobalt blue, and I'll be doing that on the water. Now I am using the Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens. These are a water-based marker, and I'm using the Zig Blender pen to do my blending. All of the colors I'm using will be listed in the upper left-hand corner as we're going along. I'm going to do the water underneath that little dog the exact same way. And then with light gray and gray, I'm going to color in this little bucket. Now you could certainly make this bucket a really bright color, but I thought it'd be fun just to do kind of like an old tin bucket. So I'm going to add that darker gray and then pull in towards the middle. And then I did decide to add a little bit more shadowing to this. I just didn't think it was quite dark enough around that edge. So let's go ahead and pull that in as well. And I'll do the other side the same way. And then we'll just finish off that little handle. Now for this guy's shirt, I'm going to use those same two colors. So I'm going to use that light gray and gray to do his shirt, just adding a few shadows here and there. And as I mentioned in the intro, we're going to be doing this fun swivel surprise for the inside of the card. It's really easy. It looks kind of intimidating. I have to say I was a little bit intimidated at first myself, but once I started working on it, I realized how easy this really is. So this would be great for any of your images, really to put a new twist on all of your images, some of your older images. It's just a really fun way to add a little pop, a little surprise for the inside of the card, and I really love how this came out. And then I'll also be using a new paper pad from Art Impressions, which is the Teal pad. But there are 4 new pads in the collection, and all the paper packs have the same patterns in them, just different colors. So there's teal, yellow, pink, and green. So you can kind of mix and match these pads together. The patterns are the same, just the colors are different, and I'll show you those a little bit later as we go along. So again, I'm still sticking with that light gray. I'll finish off that little fishing rod. And then we'll switch to beige and mid-brown, and then I'm going to use that light pink just on the cheeks of my little dog. I'm going to put both the lighter color and the darker color down at the same time, and then we'll just blend that in. You can certainly do this one color at a time if you find that easier. And I am using the Zig Blender pen to do my blending, but you could also use a water brush here if you prefer. So you can see how quickly this coloring goes. Now do keep in mind that all of the products I'm using today are listed and linked down below, as well as on my blog. Next we'll color in the cheeks with a little bit of light pink, and then we'll use the flesh color for the skin. I'm just going to add a little bit of that light pink to their noses just to make it look like they've been out in the sun for a little while, and then it will add a little pink to his arms as well. Let's finish up the arms, putting that color kind of down towards the bottom and then pulling it up towards the top. But here's where I came in with a little bit of that pink again, just to give a little pinky tint, a little bit of a sunburn. Now with bright yellow, evergreen, and blue gray, I'm going to color in the fish, and I kind of mix these colors up. So here I use the bright yellow and the evergreen, and just kind of blended that bright yellow up into the green. You could certainly color these fish any way you like. A little bit more of that bright yellow just to kind of brighten up the bottom of the fish a little bit more. And then I'm adding a little bit more to the fins. And then going to that blue-gray, I'm adding that to the little fish in the bucket here with that same bright yellow, and just doing a little blending. And then back to the bright yellow and that evergreen to finish up this last one. So I just kind of mix these up a little bit. I wanted to keep them fairly subtle, but again, you could choose some different colors. I'll go back to that blue-gray and do his cap, and then the evergreen again to do his little fishing vest. Now to clean off that blender pen, you just want to scribble it onto your scrap paper until it goes clear, and then you can switch to the next color. And then for this little boat, the little rowboat, I'm using beige and mid-brown again. I'm going to add some shadows to this with that mid-brown. And then once I blended this out, I thought I needed a little bit more shadowing, kind of along the front here, and then kind of in between where these little slats are. I'm just going to add a little line of that and then blend that in. That'll just give us a little bit more shadowing. Adding a little bit more to the inside of the boat there. And then for a little pop of color, I'm using the geranium red. Just add it to a few different areas. And then I will do this other fisherman's, the handle on his fishing pole in the red, and then we'll also use it on his shirt. And I'm just going to use the one color. I'm not going to introduce the second color for the shadowing. I'm just going to add, if I need more shadowing, I'm going to add more of that geranium red and just kind of pull that up. Let's go ahead and finish that shirt on the other side. And then later on, I did notice I missed a little section of his shirt, so I'll go back and do that. With ochre, I'm going to do his vest. And there's where I added that little bit of red. I missed the collar and sort of the inside of his shirt there. So let's finish up with that ochre. And you can see how cute these images come together. But again, go through your stamps on your images and see what you have that would be really fun on this interactive card. The last thing that I'll do is finish up his hair with the light gray, and then I'll use that same light gray on the little banner that says birthday fishes. Kind of putting that light gray around the edges and then pulling in towards the middle, keeping the middle almost white. Now this set does not come with the coordinating dies, so I am going to use my detail scissors and quickly cut these out. I left a little white border around the edges, and then with my Art Impressions rectangle A2 double stitch dies, I'm going to grab that second largest die. For paper, as I mentioned earlier, I'm using the brand new Basic Teal, and this is a double-sided 6x6 inch paper pack, and here's those other ones I also told you about: the yellow, the pink, and this really pretty basic green. I selected a few patterns from the Basic Teal. I'm going to start off with that darker teal with the polka dots and then this striped one. I've grabbed the second largest die from the rectangle A2 double stitch dies from Art Impressions, and then I went ahead and die cut these 3 panels. So let's go ahead and attach the stripe one to the front of the card, and this is a standard A2 size side folding card, and I cut that from some Kraft 100-pound cardstock. So let's go ahead and attach these two to the inside, and I do want to make sure that I line them up nice and straight. Make sure they're equal distance from the top and the bottom. So that's the base of the card. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Swivel Surprise die set from Lawn Fawn. This is amazing. This is going to create this little swivel pop-up for the inside of our card. So let's take a look at the dies in this set. This piece is called the swivel mechanism. This circle is called the main circle. Then you have a couple of sentiment banners. And then this piece is called the ring die, and that one there is called the X marks the spot. And I'll show you exactly what we need to do with these. So let's go ahead and start with the mechanism die. Just going to use my steel die cutters and cut these apart really quickly. And then I'm going to place that on some Kraft cardstock. So I went ahead and ran that through the die cutting machine, and it creates all the score lines that you need. So I'm going to fold on the score lines, and I'm folding away from myself, and I just want to use that bone folder just to make sure I get this nice and straight. And then I'm going to fold away from myself on this score line. And then for these two that make an X in the center, you're going to fold on the diagonal. So you've got that score line, that one, the one at the bottom, and then the two diagonal ones. And that's all you need to do for your scoring. The next thing you want to do is just push in on these two sides to collapse this down. Again, this is your little mechanism. So let's take a look at that one more time. We're going to press in on each side, just kind of collapsing that down. And then we're going to make sure that we press that out nicely with the bone folder. And there we have our little mechanism. So let's flip this over, and you're going to have that little rectangular tab right there. So we're going to go ahead and add some glue. You could add double-sided tape here as well if you prefer. I'm going to just place that glue right up to that score line. And then what we're going to do is flip this over again and place this on the center of our card. So I'm going to open up the card and center this from top to bottom and take that straight edge, laying it flat. I'm not going to fold that tab, I'm just going to lay it flat, lining it up right in that score line. And then the only thing that has glue on it is that little rectangular tab. So we're going to line this up nice and straight and then press that in place. And I'll give that a few seconds to dry. So let's just test that mechanism just to make sure it's moving freely. And then going back to the die set, we're going to grab this one, the ring die. Now when I die cut this, it will cut the outer circle and the inner circle, and I'm just trying to decide which side of the paper I wanted, and I'm going to use this darker polka dotted section. And then for the main circle die, I'm going to use that striped paper that we used on the front of the card. But again, you could certainly mix and match all your teal patterns. You can have as many or as few as you like. That's how it's going to be laid out on my card. Now let's go back to the X marks the spot die and die cut that from some Kraft 100-pound cardstock. And then we can start to assemble this. Now you see that little curve there? I know Lawn Fawn calls this like a little butter knife. Right at the bottom of that curve, I'm going to draw a pencil line. We're only going to place glue above that pencil line. So basically just on that curved portion. And then I'm going to go ahead and line up the curve of this circle right along the curve of that little section. Now I do want to make sure using the glue that I don't have any underneath. I want the mechanism to be able to move freely. And then this one I was testing to see if I kind of like that little bit of a gingham plaid, but I decided to go with this same pattern. So I'm going to line that up with this lower section. And you see that little curve again? This circle ring fits right on that curve. I'm going to draw a pencil line again so you can see exactly where that is. And then I'll add my glue just in this section. And then we can slide that ring on. You want to slide it underneath that little mechanism and then along that curve, and then we'll go ahead and let that dry. Again, I'm just checking underneath to make sure there's no adhesive there, and then you do want to test it, make sure everything's moving freely. Now let's grab that X marks the spot little Kraft cardstock. I'm going to fold that up towards me, and then that little X will match the little X on the mechanism. So I'm going to line up those two X's. And all I need is adhesive on that little triangle where the X is. That's it, just that small triangular area. Now we can go ahead and place this piece down, and again I'll give that a few minutes to dry, and then I'm just double checking this again, making sure I press that down with a bone folder. And then you have this one little tab, this other little rectangle. I'm going to add some adhesive. I did want to make sure that glue went right up to the edges. And then we're going to place this smaller circle right inside. So I'm just centering it on that larger circle. And then we'll just press that and hold that for a second. You could place something heavy on there if you like as well. So now this little piece is the last thing we have to do. I'm going to use some double-sided tape on this piece. I want to make sure it's nice and secure. I'm putting 2 pieces of 1/4 inch double-sided tape, and I'm going to line this up again right on the fold of the card, right along that score line. I'm keeping the adhesive face up. I'm going to close the card and pick up that adhesive, and you can see that will automatically pick that up, and everything should move nice and freely. Now that little piece, that mechanism piece that you see, I kept it in the Kraft cardstock, but if you want to add some pattern paper to that, these are the dimensions that you would use. So you would cut your pattern paper at 1.5 inches by 1 inch, and that will cover that little tab for you. I'm going to leave mine just as it is, and then let's add a sentiment. This is from that same stamp set, and it's going to say, officially over the hill. So this is really cute. So I'm making a 70th birthday card, and so I thought that sentiment was perfect. But for the front of the card, I want it to say, best fishes for a happy birthday. So I just attached that stamp to an acrylic block, and let's go ahead and ink that up with that Versafine Onyx black ink and stamp that front panel. I'm stamping it up towards the top because I'll be adding my 70 right underneath that. For now, let's go ahead and add our little fisherman. I've got some small foam squares. Those are from scrapbook.com. I'm just removing the backing using my Cricut weeding tool, and we'll pop this up. And then I did want to add that little birthday fishes sign. So I'm going to put a couple foam squares on this just to make it level with my fisherman. And then I'll add a little dot of glue to the top of that hook. I did originally put some foam there, but it was too thick. So I took that off and just added a little bit of glue right there. And then I'm just trimming away that little bit of excess. And here's my 70. So I'm going to go ahead and add that. I die cut that from that same teal paper pack. I'm going to go ahead and add some glue to these and attach these to the card. Now again, you could pop these up. That would be really pretty as well. If you're going to pop them up, I would probably die cut them a few times and glue them together to give them a little bit more dimension. But I thought we had a lot going on with the card, so I'm going to keep those numbers flat. And then let's do the layout for the inside of the card. I've got this little banner with my sentiment on there. And then let's add this little dog. And then for the fish is going to go in that upper right-hand circle. Now you do want to make sure you have plenty of glue on this. You want it to lay flat. You don't want it to get caught on anything. So I'm making sure with my finger that I'm spreading that glue edge to edge on that little fish, just to make sure, again, it lays nice and flat. The little bucket of fish I felt like could go almost anywhere on the inside of the card. I did decide to place it off to the left, and then I thought I could sign over there on the left-hand side as well. So let's take a quick look at our 70th birthday milestone card with this cute swivel surprise inside. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a single video. I really hope you all have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.